Now this morning we are talking about how to deal with sleep issues in a natural way.
That's right, our regular natural wellness visit with Dr. Emil Faithe.
Good to see you guys.
Is here. Yeah, good to see you
always.
too.
Hey, you know, we've talked about this many times. We all need sleep. And we need between 7 and 9 hours of sleep, not more and not less in general. And you can do it naturally.
Right. Well, it seems like everybody has a rough night sleeping every now and then.
Now and then.
It does become a chronic problem, though, for a lot of people.
It is. There are millions of Americans and millions of people across the world that are having problems sleeping. That's a serious health issue, actually.
Is it really?
Yes, it is. You can cause adrenal failure. It can cause depression, anxiety, and all kinds of problems internally. So you got to get your sleep. That's when you rejuvenate.
So what is it that makes us have this lack of sleep or problem
Well,
sleeping?
we look at the lifestyles we have. We have stressful lifestyles. We've got going to bed angry. Don't go to bed angry. This is a big deal.
You know, you think that's something people just say in the movies, but you mean it. You really mean it.
I mean, you may not even think about it. You had a bad day at work, a tough day. You had an argument with a friend, a loved one. You just don't remember this, but you're going to bed and your liver is like where you hold all of this.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to talk about the liver, and we might as well do it now. The liver is a very important organ, of course. And here's the situation. The witching hour is between like 1 and 3 a.m. And I know there's a lot...
What do you mean by the witching hour?
The witching hour, or I call it witching hour, when people are... Is that how it goes?
Yes.
Well, it may go that way for a lot of people because between 1 and 3 a.m. is a popular time for complaints about insomnia.
Sure.
A lot of my patients say, I can't sleep between around 1 and 3, and that's because that's when the liver is activating. Now, everyone has it, and this is the time you can be awake, so you don't want to go to bed angry.
No,
okay?
absolutely not.
And for the very same reason, you don't want to eat a lot of food before you go to bed.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the nutrition.
Talk about it.
The nutrition factor about how it contributes to our sleeping patterns.
It does, but here's the first thing. Don't do a heavy meal for dinner time, okay, please? The heavy meal stimulates digestion, which says, hey, I'm awake, let's play.
Right.
No, that when you're awake and you want to play, your mind's not going to go to sleep, your body's not going to go to sleep.
But what if you're somebody who goes to bed at midnight and you eat dinner at 7? You still can't have a big meal?
No, 7 is fine, but you don't want to, don't do heavy proteins. You should be focusing mostly on complex carbohydrates like pastas and vegetables and grains. Yeah, that's better. A little bit of light protein, you know, fish is fine, a little bit of turkey and chicken, but don't overdo the heavy stuff because your body's going to be awake all night.
Okay, now my question is, I see that no caffeine afternoon, which obviously don't drink the coffee later, but what about chocolate?
This is a big deal. Now, I have patients,
soda.
I know, I have patients who literally graze on herbal teas. They come in and say, I have an herbal tea now, I want to have one at dinner, I have one after dinner. And some of these herbs are very stimulating in and of themselves, and many of these teas have caffeine. So no caffeine afternoon.
I drink tea at
12
night.
noon, none.
What about chocolate? Because what about like a bowl of chocolate ice cream?
I think a little bit of your favorite is fine. And, you know, actually milk can help you sleep. So the milk itself in general can relax you, but the sugar.
The sugar is
not
bad.
so much sugar before bed.
Well, maybe get the sugar-free, There's a lot of sugar-free desserts with chocolate.
Have a little bit. Nothing in excess, please. Everything in moderation.
And that's everything.
That's
so nutrition-wise, those are the main tips. And then, of course, you also want to talk a little bit about the fact that there's a lot of emotional things that drive our sleeping problems.
Well, we are emotional beings, right?
Absolutely.
But so you need to make sure, again, the big thing, don't go to bed angry. Resolve those issues. Let it go and let your mind go. And it's easier said than done. But here's some tips for you. If you're having issues with it, let's talk about some of the lifestyle tips.
Okay, please
now,
do.
I did a seminar on insomnia about a year ago, and a gal came in. She was in her 60s, a wonderful lady. She'd been on prescription sleep medicines for over 30 years.
Wow. Addictive.
So her husband said, can you do anything for her? We talked after the talk, but these are some of the key points, and she followed them.
Okay.
Number one, here's one you didn't think about. Cover your television set before you go to bed. Now, we're in TV, we love TV,
in big trouble.
but cover it at night. Even when it's off, there's electronic energy coming out of that, and you are sensitive. Keep the TV away from yourself and or cover it with a blanket or a towel. This is right.
I always fall asleep with the TV, so I'm really bad.
Well, you know, if it's keeping you awake, if it's not keeping you awake, okay. But if people are having problems with sleep, cover it up. Other electronics, ditto. Okay.
Really? Okay. Wow.
Mirrors. You didn't think about this, but wardrobe mirrors, they're beautiful.
Absolutely.
But they're also emitting energy. They're reflective of energy and increase the energy in the sleeping room. So try this out. If you're not sleeping, cover your wardrobe mirrors and your other mirrors with a towel or a blanket.
How interesting.
It does make a difference. The third thing I told her during this seminar was many things, but these are the 3 she followed and the ones that I recommend, is make sure you clear clutter. Clear the clutter out of your house. Now, in my book, Extreme Clearing for Perfect Health, whole chapter on clutter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clutter's a toxin. We want to get rid of it.
Isn't it?
And when we have this,
on the way to the bathroom.
yeah, and we have a subconscious memory of our clutter, no matter where it is. It could be in the garage, it could be in the closet, and definitely if it's in your sleeping room, it's gonna affect how you sleep.
Okay, real quick. What about restless leg? I saw that up there, and I get that, and that is what always keeps me awake. I just thought that had just twitches or itches or something.
Now,
I think
restless
it's like
legs. That's right.
Is it tonic water that would help?
Well, it can, because it is a mineral deficiency. Magnesium and calcium often help that.
Okay.
And it's also a sign you may be low on iron.
Oh,
really?
Okay.
And restless leg syndrome and sleep apnea, where people actually are snoring, snoring is a serious issue.
It's a very serious issue.
So we need to correct those things. And I can do that and help you with that at the office if you need help. But get that corrected, because restless legs is very painful and it will keep you awake.
Very
So
interesting.
good point. Let's take care of that.
Well, I find that, for me, I find that I wake up, I don't necessarily have a hard time going to sleep once I go to sleep. It's the waking up a lot in the middle of the night, because I'm afraid I'll oversleep. Does that seem to be a problem for a lot of people?
A lot of people. But again, inositol, we've talked about inositol.
Yes.
We will not stop talking about inositol because it's so versatile. It's great for the liver. We want to calm the liver. It calms the mind.
Okay.
Start taking some inositol, about 500 milligrams to 1,000 milligrams a couple of times a day, and then just before bed. It's wonderful.
Any other good supplements you'd recommend for insomnia?
L-tryptophan.
Oh,
You know what? That's high
in
turkey and milk and bananas.
That's right.
So not bad to have a banana before
you sleepy.
if you want to have a little bit. Makes you sleepy. So take L-tryptophan, the supplement, about 500 milligrams, about 45 minutes before you want to go to bed.
Okay, perfect. And also on the screen you can see there are some other tips that you have there.
Calcium, magnesium. If you're having, a lot of people clench their jaw at night, that keeps them awake. They have TMJ and that kind of pain and the clenching. That can cause lots of problems. So calcium, magnesium relaxes that. Also great. It's the first thing I use for sleep apnea patients.
Great.
So
and of course you also recommend the milk.
Milk, that's why? Because of the liver, right?
Yes.
It's
and
the liver issue.
I didn't realize how many issues with the liver. That's interesting.
We all have some issues because we're in a toxic society.
Well, great tips as always, and people are really appreciating all of your advice. We've been getting great feedback. Dr. Emil Faithe, thank you for giving us the lowdown on catching some Z's. We love having you here. It was great.
Thank you so much.
And of course, we've got some big news in technology this week. It's about Steve Jobs, the co-founder and CEO of Apple.